he's got you live from Mongify, but it's also
here we are. Here we are. We're back. We're back on, Matthew. Here we go. Here we go. We are back on
part 2.
Stick around.
This is the best part.
One eyeball. Does that mean 2 eyeballs? That's one person watching.
I don't know.
Perfect.
There was
perfect.
The problem was there was actually some really good comments that were coming through. So if people are still with us, if they could just put those again, because I think I saw.
Thank you, Ramon Costa. You are a loyalist. Look at this. About here we go. Straight back into it. About Gillian. He trains separately from the rest of the group. So I guess he may need a bit of time for a proper healing process. So
he is injured. Okay, fair enough.
He must be injured. He must be injured. Yeah, we'd be all right. He's okay.
Maybe it was just the ratings. Maybe the ratings were just so out of proportion with what everybody thought. That was just enough to blow the podcast out of the water. But
I think it may have been me. It may have been me. But you know what? We could just start this whole thing again, right? Why don't we just play the music? Because I'm going to bring on special guest Robbie as well. Is on?
Is he there?
Go on. I want to do the music. Here we go.
Oh no! Actually,
fellas,
get him off. Look at the shirt behind. Get him off.
What is that? Manchester United.
Oh dear. They're gonna. Have they asked you for money? Have they asked you for money yet? Have you got the thing through where they're asking for any a GoFundMe page or something yet for Man U? They can start to finance whatever they want to do.
No, not yet.
There it is.
Go on, Robbie. Why are you late for class? What's happening?
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
Well, as you can see under my name there, thank you, Sydney Traffic, once again. You know, I'm not going to miss that when I do end up in Brisbane in the very near future. I'm not going to miss Sydney's traffic.
Yeah.
Absolute killer. Far out.
Sorry, you're moving to Brisbane, eh? I remember you saying at the beginning of the season it was a long way off then, but is it coming up? Is it?
Yeah. It'll be probably around this time next year that I'm there. So
lovely.
Yeah,
lovely.
Fun times ahead.
Well, what you missed, Robbie, is Matt and I started a show, and then I think I deleted the show. It's one of those things where there's only one.
Because I was watching it in the car on my way in, or listening to it. Sorry, listening, not watching it in my car.
There's only one button on the screen which is red, and in my mind, it's like I'm always
don't hit the red button, Dale. Never.
If you're in trouble, don't hit the red button. And I got in a little bit of trouble, and I was looking for something, and I was like, I'm just gonna hit it, and automatically I knew what I'd done. Anyway, we're back. We started by where were we? We're going to talk about the Central Coast game. And we got sort of halfway through talking about it. It's just, I mean, it was a tight game. There were kind of like periods of play. I was looking back on the commentary, and they're like, it's like a 7-year-old's game, you know. It was kind of real scrappy midfield battles. You know, obviously we looked like being at the game. I felt like we had the upper hand of the game, especially when we were 2-1 up. I thought, we'll bring this home. They equalised. I mean, what are your thoughts, Rob?
Yeah, very similar, reflecting what you guys were thinking. It was super frustrating because the first 20 minutes, half an hour, I thought we were pretty strong, looked very comfortable. That opening goal was excellent play. Randall was great. He's proving to be a really handy option in attack. I was stoked to see Guillermo score with his head from inside the 6-yard box.
Second header of the season.
Second header, absolutely. But then, just inexplicable that we gave up the control, and the Mariners, and this hasn't been said too many times this season for the Mariners, they actually dominated. They dominated a game. They've had a terrible season, and you could. And I know I work with a few Mariners diehards. And they were saying that was the best that they've seen them play this season, if not in recent memories. So give a little bit of credit to them. But in saying that, Auckland gave up the control, and for large parts we looked second best, and that is a very worrying sign for me. How do you work on game management? Is it players? Is it tactics?
The goal was a game. The goal was a goal mouth scramble. And you know what? Usually, when a team's a goal down in the last 10 minutes, they are piling the pressure on. It was just they just put it in the mixer and got lucky. I mean, I think it was just one of those things, to be honest.
Yeah, but it you mean the second equalizer, the 2-2?
Yeah, to bring it up to 2. Oh, you talking about the first one? We should.
No, I was. Yeah. I mean, with both, it was, and Corica said it as well in the post game. Like, there's just been moments creeping in over the past couple of weeks where players just switch off, and Auckland gets punished. And unfortunately, our boy Frankie fell asleep. He was on his heels. He was waiting. I don't know if he didn't hear the calls, but
that goal
you can't let that. Like, that's happened to me as a goalkeeper. I've just sort of waited for a cross to come in, then all of a sudden the attacker just comes in front of me and nods it into the back of the goal. Yeah. You got to come for those. You got to come out and attack the ball. He didn't. He got punished. And the second one was a real messy scramble goal. But there's a few elements to that. Dan Hall slipped over just as the first cross comes in. If he doesn't slip over, he clears it. And then in that scramble, Sakai flicks it up while he's lying on the ground. If he just lets that roll, Paulson's there. He picks it up.
That's. I was gonna make that. And actually, even if Paulson doesn't get it, Tommy Smith kicks it off the line. And if Tommy Smith doesn't kick it off the line, there was somebody else. So it's like the ball was going that way, and it just
snowballed. It just snowballed, and then after it got flicked up, Paulson rushes out in a, I wouldn't call it a panic. He just kind of, see ball, get ball. But if he doesn't actually rush out to get there and stays back, the ball just gets headed straight to him. And then also Gallegos, if he fully commits with the ball in the air, if he challenges Duarte, I think it was, if he challenges them with a head rather than try and use his foot, that might just be enough to come off. There's just a whole bunch of little what ifs that it was a perfect storm of errors, and it just somehow found its way into the back of the net. And I was having to think about it today. How many times have we actually seen Auckland dominate a game?
At the beginning, it's been a while.
At the beginning, though, they dominate. It has been.
So, and just looking back at results and trying to think back through the games, I'd probably say there's maybe half a dozen at most where we've actually dominated the majority, if not all, the game, to the point where we hear an opposition player or manager say, "Geez, nothing went right for us. We couldn't get a touch on the ball." The first couple of, I'd say for the majority of
mainly the derbies. We were like that in the derbies, really, weren't we?
The 6-1, but it's been the team's fitness, it's the team's durability that's seen them get over the line, rather than, I haven't seen us in recent memory just be dominant, comfortable, not allow a team a shot on target, and like I say, just hear someone from the opposition say, "Geez, we couldn't get it. We couldn't get the ball today." I haven't heard that for a while, and that's something I think I would like to see in this run home. Just one really dominant performance, just to kind of get that feeling back for the players, give that confidence to the fans and the coaching staff. Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie.
What's? I mean, I wouldn't say things are going wrong, but what's gone off the boil a little bit? What's happened?
Yeah, anyway, I think. I mean, I just had a look at the last few of the games. Robbie's got a point. In the earlier games, it tracks like momentum, and some of these last few games, the momentum has been swinging quite a bit back and forth. Auckland have allowed the opposition to kind of get a foot in the game. I think the game that was just gone, the player that I thought was going to come on and make a bit of a difference, but I think this makes me believe the person we are really missing is Verstraete. Harrison came on. I thought Harrison could come on and do that job. Pick the the game by the scruff of the neck and say, right, that's it. This midfield, this is where we're at. We're going to be solid. But it wasn't really. The game was still swinging back and forth, and like you just said there, they did score a scrappy goal, but they were good for it. The Mariners. You can't begrudge them the bid at the end.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it was out of the
they
door.
were worth a 2-2. I thought it was an excellent point for them.
Yeah.
But it's a question I raised early on. If you guys can think back, who is that player that's going to take the game by the balls for us and go, this isn't working? Just someone to put that tackle in, to put.
Well, it's for Strata, isn't it? I mean, when he bossed some of the midfields in some of the games, that you need that player back, really.
Yeah, he's your out of possession footballer, isn't he? In possession, he does bits and pieces, but essentially he's your out of your possession footballer. He covers the ground well. He makes those tackles. He's committed. He knows what he's about. He gets the ball. He gives it to somebody with a bit more skill, maybe. Or
it's been a real swing from the beginning, where we were dining out on our defenders, and now we're kind of dining out on our attackers. They're what's keeping us in this. And so we were just saying this before you came on, Robbie. This feels like our worst run. It feels like our dip of the season, but we haven't lost in these 3 games. We picked up 3 points. We're still, are we 4 clear of Western with a game in hand?
4 points clear, yeah.
If that was the dip, then that's good, I think. I mean, but you're right. There needs to be a big performance coming.
Yeah, which is why I think I put it out on the socials that the Brisbane game coming up in a week's plus time, that's must win for me, just to get that momentum rolling, because beyond that, the run is probably one of the tougher ones. You've got, after Brisbane away, Wanderers at home, which is going to be massive, Sydney away, and then Victory away. So they're 2 teams battling for a place in the top 6.
Yeah, they've got to play for. Yeah, you don't want that.
And then you've got Perth at home, which the Stan Lazaridis game for you, Maddie.
That's sort of Matt Darby. It's the only one I'm looking forward to.
The Les Cup.
I might get to meet Stan.
And then there's just an ever so slight possibility now that Western United away in round 27 is going to be a decider. And look, the beauty of the A-League is that anything can happen, and it usually does.
Yeah.
So you think back to some of these teams that we were talking about, like in Adelaide. They're on a horrendous run at the moment. They've only won once in the last 7 or 8 games, and we were talking about them as our biggest challenges, right? But they've just about fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
Then you look at the Western Sydney Wanderers, who for so long this season had never really hit the heights. Now they think they've won 4 on the trot.
Yeah.
And then if Sydney comes, they're still battling away in Asia, so they're in with a chance of winning an Asian title as well. That could work against them. Victory, if they ever decide to wake up and start winning bloody games, then they'll be a challenge as well. So it's these teams will still take points off each other.
Yeah.
So as long as Auckland keep maintaining no losses, we should be okay. But is that the kind of form you want going into playoffs?
It's kind of two things, isn't it? Can we still finish top? But then, is the form good enough for the playoffs? Finishing top. What are you saying? Western United away is that the second to last game of the season? Final game of the season. Oh, it is the final game. Oh, wow. So we could go there 2 points clear, and they could overturn us on the day. And that's I was watching it on TV, man. They look like they're in a city that hasn't been built yet. You know what I mean? It's just it's just
pretty much.
Have you ever seen Back to the Future? And they're building Hill Valley out in the middle of
Hill Valley.
Yeah,
Western United's the Hill Valley before. That's awesome. I love that.
Is that the one where? Are they the guys that they're the Geelong guys, aren't they? They're the ones that.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. They were going back and forth, but now they're like outskirts of Melbourne. Yeah.
That one game was just. I mean, I don't think that got enough talk. That was just. I mean, if anyone wanted to know what it would look like if you just put a stadium on the moon with a ridiculously strong wind,
with a nice car park though,
Yeah,
there's
a lot of space.
There's got to be a rule where too much wind is too much wind. Like for a game of football, like I've seen a ball get kept up in the air and the wind takes it. I get that, but I'm sure towards the end of the game that they were actually allowing for the wind across the surface. That's how windy it was. Like I'm sure one guy kicked it, and the other guy thought, "Oh, I'm in with a chance here," and the wind just blew it away from him on the ground.
He did. He said the lad that came on from Western, it was like that, didn't he? He said it was like that.
Yeah. There's the goal. The goal when that lad came on, the goal that week from the Mariners, actually, Mikael Docker scored from halfway. You know the corner, sideline, and halfway. Pretty much from there.
Yeah, right.
Started the ball aiming towards the far grandstand, and the wind just took it and it went in. It's ridiculous.
He's probably only trying to kick it. He's probably only trying to kick it to his right back. It just went.
Yeah, he was trying to kick it to his right back, and it just went.
Yeah. See you later.
So, do you want to be going there and winning a game?
No.
Far out.
Good for a neutral.
No.
It'd be the
We've done it. We did do it this season, but I wouldn't want it if that's a Premier's Plate decider.
No.
What do we care about more though? What do we care about winning the Premier's Plate? Like, I need to know what I care about. Do we care about winning it, or is it all about just winning the grand final? Like, how? I mean, this is an odd situation.
It's a tricky one. I'm more of a traditionalist in that the best team over the course of a regular season, for want of a better term, 27 rounds. If we're the best, we're the best.
Wins the league.
Yeah.
Correct. But because we're in this really weird place that the Asian Confederations recognizes the league winner, the Premier's Plate holder, as the right to go into Champions League. But we can't play that. So
because we're in Oceania.
It's a nice trophy to have, but then I think for us, because of our situation being Kiwis, I think being the champions would hold a little bit more weight.
Yeah.
But we got to win the grand final. We got to get to the grand final.
Any silverware I'd take, in all honesty.
Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it.
Totally.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, that was the game. We're going to have a new segment this week, which is called Matt on the Socials.
Oh.
Yeah. We
From the Sins.
Here we go.
We want to do a little jingle. We couldn't find one.
There's a sting as well. Wow.
This is going to be, Matt in the
start
Socials.
Neighbours or something.
It is, Right.
That didn't work, Matt. All right, Matt's on the socials, which means we don't normally talk about too much about the socials, do we? But it's been so ferocious this week that we want to have a little segment. So Matt, bring us up to speed. What are they talking about out there in social media?
What have I seen? What have I heard? What have I read? It kind of, I think we'll just get the elephant. There's an elephant in the room, so let's just get it out there. Let's talk about it. It's the flags. The flags are really, really starting. It's right, Robbie. I know you mentioned there. I've seen you in the socials as well. I've seen you posting. That's right. You were
does pop on, eh?
You were okay. Yeah,
I'm active. What's
that's fine. You were well within the guidelines of probably what Facebook's happy with. But the flags. I mean, it's just a big.
Briefly describe to us what is the situation with the flags.
The issue is in the
port.
Yeah, it's in the port. From what I've seen is there's people that have taken photos to kind of say, I'm in the port, I'm standing in the port, and I'm looking down at the pitch, and the flags are just so large, I just can't see past the flags. I can't see the game. It's just the constant. And as you can imagine, as you go through the posts, there's for and there's against. There's for the flags and there's against the flags, and this is the port, and you can do this if you don't like it. And if you want to do this, you can go there. But I like the port, but I like the flag. So there's a lot of shouting from both sides. That's for sure. And I felt like I was in the port. I'm in the middle. I could be easily swayed either way. If it's one of those ones. I hate to do my first Matt on the socials and I'm just stuck on the fence. And I think you're gonna want an answer from me. But
I just love the idea of those people like 4 or 5 rows back from those big flags just quietly seething though. You know what I mean? Like obviously I don't think it came to anything, and then taking to the socials,
Yeah. It was heated.
It's the best place to vent.
Of course.
It
do we think? Big flags, okay? Don't worry about the people sitting behind, or take them down.
Great.
Down when you're playing up when a goal goes in or something.
Yeah, timing. Yeah, I think that's the happy medium, is that they're up when we score, or they're up when they need a bit of a, if the whole port starts going and the gene starts going.
Yeah.
But for the whole 90 minutes, I mean, that's where you can sway.
Martino Jr. wants more flags, he says on Facebook.
He wants more flags. Needs more flags.
I actually think it's a South American Latino-led flag situation. I mean, I know there are a lot of flags, but I see there's a lot of Latinos with the flags. So Martino Jr. is like, let's get more flags. Sit down, stand up seems to be the same thing on the socials, Matt. A little bit of
I think that's more siding towards the stand up. I think the majority, getting the testing the wind on that one. It feels like it's definitely blowing towards the stand up is the preference.
Yeah, I think so.
That feels like what the
drama is. The drama is like, people go there to stand up, and then they turn up and someone's sitting in their seat. So there's a little bit of grumpiness about that. And there's this thing where if you want to come in the port to soak up the atmosphere, you've got to be the atmosphere.
Yeah, you can't just sit and observe. You have to be an active participant there.
It's not a tourist attraction. Yeah, I think that's what it is. So
the port. That's what they're all about. Yeah,
that's right. That was a bit hot.
I'll jump in quickly here. Ramon Costa on the YouTube comments. 2 things that can help. First, big flags poll. Some are too short to work correctly. Brackets don't know about the stadium rules around that. Second, allow to use the upper section back of the port so people can attach paraphernalia on there, as we see overseas.
Okay. Yeah. That's not a bad idea. So flip it round, basically. So the flags go to the back.
Well, the flags are behind the back. It makes sense.
Yeah. That does make quite a bit of sense. Yeah, might not. Thing is, so it's very logical. I'm not sure the amount of
common sense.
If you want common sense, you want logic. Why don't you go somewhere else, mate? We're quite happy with what we're doing. We don't do logic here. No, we don't logic here. Yeah, that's right. We're quite happy with what we're at. So yeah. But I felt
the port was a bit fragmented. I mean, I was in the port, and I actually do stand right up at the back because I like the view up there, and I'm sort of still in the port. And also, I was late. I can't get there early. Like there is no chance on this planet that I get there early. So I'm always about 10-2, 5-2. Oh, where's there some nooks? So we bowl in. The port seemed a bit fragmented. The songs were struggling a little bit this week. But I just love the fact that everyone's giving it a go, and who cares on the socials?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, especially when you look at other games as well. The port really stand out if you compare to a few others around the leagues. Like the port are right up there, if not at the top. So they're great.
Yeah. What else is going on, Matthew?
I guess the other big thing. I guess this is less kind of. I mean, it got people heated again for other reasons, but it's the new stadium, or the new potential stadium at Western Springs. There's a lot of worry that it's not going to be big enough, or it's only going to be three sides in a car park, or two sides in a car park, or 2 car parks and 2 sides. 12,000, is it enough? 15,000? That sounds about right.
12,500 I saw. 13,000.
Yeah.
There are 3 proposals going in to Western Springs. 3 different parties wanting 3 different things. Only one of those proposals is the kind of Anna Mowbray, consortium. I think the same characters are in there. Bill Foley, and it's going to be why only 12,500? That seems
it
seems very ambitious.
Matt on the socials. It seems that again, it can catch like wildfire. It's something that could be completely and wholly completely untrue. grows a pair of Usain Bolt legs, and it just runs.
That's why I want the segment.
Forever.
That's why I want the new
segment. It goes. It feels like something has been said. Was it Paddy Gower? I think he was talking to somebody. I think something got mentioned.
Hold on,
and some
Paddy
kind of
Gower's back in the mix.
I feel like Paddy.
Here we go.
I've dragged Gower into it.
Yeah,
if all else fails, drag him into it. Yeah, he can be the butt of it. But there's been talk. Somebody's heard 12,000, and then that's obviously got people thinking, well, hang on a minute, we're averaging about 15 to 18,000. You got no chance.
Yeah.
And obviously there's some good stuff in there. Like there's some grounds where you can bring it down to this number, and then you can extend it, or you can expand it, or you can stick a temporary.
Yeah, for the bigger games, maybe.
Yeah, but I don't like the idea of having again, people are getting worked up about an artist's impression, I suppose. I think that's just very, very early days. I can't imagine it will just be 2 stands and 2 blank ends. You know, you're going to want a full ring stadium if you're going to get to.
Yeah, definitely. I just had a quick look at the numbers there. So we're averaging 17,000 according to Ultimate A League. Obviously packed out for the derbies, 26.
The derbies have put those up. Yeah, I mean a general game against a non-Wellington based team, somewhere around 12,
10 to 12, 10 to 12.
Yeah,
I think 15. I think to me 15 is the happy medium.
Yeah,
that's
ambitious.
over.
I think 15. Yeah,
and that's ambitious, and that's based on, you know, personal living and having lived in Auckland and seeing how crowds come and go and they fluctuate. 15,000 for the city of Auckland, I think's like a purpose-built football one as well, by the way, which is super important. Like there'll be 1 or 2 other things there, which is fine. But not a big multi-use like an Eden Park where you've got top-level league, rugby, etc., and football. This is going to be a football stadium. I'm happy with that. Yeah. The initial renders and designs, it's not great.
Yeah.
But for an initial plan, just to see something, I was okay with it. Obviously, it needs a lot of work. And I don't expect what we saw first on articles and what's been put out. I don't expect that to be the final design, but just to see something, the concept, I'm okay with that. I was quite I was quite hopeful.
Ponsonby Rugby Club obviously have the lease for it, and obviously there was the racing and whatnot. That lease is coming to the end. But I think Ponsonby Rugby Club are one of the other bidders. You know, so we're sort of going up against rugby as well. But yeah, and then obviously there was the cool, well, why would we bother doing that? Because aren't we talking about an Auckland waterfront stadium, you know?
Yeah, that seems to carry on.
Possibly
in conversation.
Come back a bit, that one.
It has come back a fair bit, yeah.
Yeah, well,
a national stadium I've always wanted a national stadium at the waterfront.
Yeah.
But then if there's a design that allows it, like if it holds 60 to 70,000, if there's a design that allows, you know, several tiers to be closed, so that bottom tier is 15 to 20,000.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would work. That would be perfect.
Yeah.
But who's going to pay for it?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the debate.
Pay for it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah. So is that the social wrap, Matthew,
just a little quick one at the end.
Oh, okay.
I think there might be a business opportunity if anyone's willing to take a punt, that you could be selling Auckland FC scarves to China. There could be a lucrative gap in the market. From what I saw on the socials, an interesting gentleman popped up out of really nowhere and just started talking about, you know, it had a very kind of, you know, Prince of Nigeria, I've got a good offer for you. Have you got a good offer for me? Because if I've got a good offer for you, I could make you a lot of money. But it sounded very much that he was in China, but he's also in Auckland, and he needs some scarves. He's going to send them to China. Yeah. So I don't know. Is there?
This reeks of Nigerian prince.
Please send me your crypto. Please send me your crypto.
Yeah.
Here's my digits.
I might just get back to it. I might just put that in the maybe folder, and I'll see how that. We'll keep an eye on.
But it would be good if we could cross live to China on one of these podcasts. You know, to an Auckland FC fan in China. All right.
Yeah,
I want fans across the world on our potty.
I'll keep an eye on that guy. Yeah, I'll see what he's up to. Yeah, but that's about it.
Nice.
That's Matt in the socials.
Well, thank you, Matt, on the socials. We're looking at working on a jingle for Matt and the socials. It's nice for him to have his own little bit there. Auckland FC, as you know, we're talking about a new stadium, but already we're at Mount Smart, and Mount Smart and the club are laying on some incredible festivities at the games. This week there was a big bouncy castle in there. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But our guest today is Bonnie Jansen. Bonnie, hello, mate. Welcome.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, thank you. Welcome to Nice Drop of Port. Good. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
That's all right. Well, Bonnie, as you know, we've got you on because you did something very special at Mount Smart a couple of weeks ago. And forgive me, I might be wrong, but you spent the entire game on the Ferris wheel. Did you? Why did you do that?
Yeah, I know. Some crazy idea I had the week prior when I got wind of it, when I was actually sipping on a few cocktails in the Black Knight Lounge, and I was next to my editor, and we were like, that could be pretty fun. That could make a good story. So yeah, backed it up. And, the plan was to kind of sit in it for the full 90 minutes and have a rotating cast of guests throughout the entire match. And we wanted to bring, players that weren't in the squad and different officials and things like that. Obviously, it didn't work out that way, but made it with a few interviews, and yeah, it was a great new perspective to watch a match of football.
Were you on for the whole game?
I did step out to take a few different shots and things like that. Also got like a little bit motion sick at one point.
Yeah,
and
that's my question.
But yeah, for the most part, and also like the entire build up, which I thought was also quite fascinating because it was as the stadium was filling up. So I think I hopped in as gates opened, and you just saw the thing fill out and pack out, and just a hive of activity down below, obviously in that kind of entertainment area. They do it so well. I mean, obviously I had that crazy idea to sit in it, but I think the real crazy idea was Nick Becker, the CEO, to say, hey, let's bring in a Ferris wheel, and good on them for making it happen.
Yeah,
definitely.
And so everything else stays the same, but you're constantly going round and round like this, right? And like, how nauseous did you get? Like, did you? I mean, I'm going to level, right? I can't go on the kids' rides at the amusement parks anymore. They're the worst ones. Like, I'm okay with a roller coaster, but the ones that just go that kind of like solid motion for ages.
Yeah, and I was really nervous for it as well, because I am someone that gets quite bad motion sickness. Never actually sick, but even just driving in the car, looking down at my phone. So I was like, this could end badly. But the fact it was open air, it wasn't a confined little carriage that I was in, and it was very start stopping. I don't know if you saw the cues for the Ferris wheel, but it was like basically still the whole time. So it meant that I was up in the air for quite a good chunk of the game, just kind of hanging there watching it, which was great. But then when you get stuck down the other end, down the bottom, and it wasn't a great view to watch the game.
That sucks.
And it also was quite lonely when Auckland FC
no one else in there, right?
Yeah.
Like you're just by yourself. So, yeah, but it was quite cool as well. Obviously, I was down there. The Ferris wheel was down that end where I think it was, I want to say 5 of the 8 goals were down that end or something like that. Most of them were anyway. And including the 2 penalties. So AP, Alex Paulson, in goal has this kind of ritual where he would obviously turn around and he would have his back to the penalty spot, and he looked down, potentially was praying, I'm not sure. And, obviously he didn't save them, but it was like quite unique to see that kind of perspective.
You would have been close up there. We talked about that a few weeks ago. What did you make of it? Like, none of us had ever seen anything like that before we could recollect.
You mean Alex?
Well, like turning around and staring into his own goal.
Yeah, it was interesting, and I mean he's got a great save rate, I guess, from penalties, and I thought. Does
he always do that?
Did you do that? I don't know. I haven't.
I think it's just this season. Yeah,
it's a new thing.
Yeah, I haven't noticed it, but I think it was a week before I was at the press conference down at Auckland FC, and they were doing penalty kicks, and Alex had saved like 3 in a row, and so I remembered that, and I was like, surely, and obviously it didn't pull off. But yeah, I haven't seen him do that before. Maybe it's just because I was there, happened to be looking. But yeah.
Now, I asked the lads before we came on if they had any questions for Bonnie. Anyone think of anything interesting to ask Bonnie about her experience on the Ferris wheel?
Go on, Robert.
Yes, I had this as soon as I read your article when it dropped. Well, Dale asked the first one, why? But mine was more around the logistics, and please don't go into detail, but 90 minutes is a long time.
Yes.
Were there any toilet breaks and food breaks, drinks breaks? That was my biggest question.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I don't actually think I went to the toilet at all. I'm trying to think back to it now, but the hardest bit was before the game, as I mentioned. I was actually in there from about 3:45, and the match doesn't kick off till 5. So I was actually in there for longer than 40, for longer than 90 minutes.
Yeah,
for a long time. And the hardest bit was we had Nick Becker, the CEO, Dan Hall, obviously was injured at the time, the centre back, and a couple of Port fans join us in, and that was the hardest part because it was so it was tiny, we're basically sitting on top of each other. But after we did those interviews, I think it was at halftime, I came out and I went and got a drink, and then went back in with about 30 minutes to go. So I did have a good break.
A break, okay.
Yeah.
And then my other question was, I just seem to have this visual of a crying child just seeing their chance to get on, and you're just in there sort of waving at them as they.
I felt so bad.
Did that actually happen?
My daughter went down and queued. That day she took 45 minutes to get on, Bonnie.
Oh
no.
She was cooking. She's part ginger, it was.
Yeah, I did feel really bad, and there weren't that many carriages as well. I feel like there were only 10, and basically when I arrived, the Auckland FC managers just told me to come in the back exit, the exit side. So I just walked in, and they would stop the carriage for me. I come on, and then we'd be like going around, and I'd be like, "Can you stop it again? Because we want to get a new shot." So and then I'd have to be like, "Sorry, stop it one more time. Nick Becker's coming on now," and oh no, he needs to be off again. So
wow.
I felt terrible to
be all for you, Bonnie. It's all for you.
I know, seriously. But it made a good video. So
it did.
Yeah.
There you go.
It was good.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you for answering my questions. I've held those for a while.
No worries.
Matthew, do you have any questions about the Ferris wheel experience?
I guess mine is: do we expect to see you on any other fairground rides at any other sporting events? Is this going to become? You got to be careful because you can become you can be a bit typecast. In Hollywood, you might see another.
Exactly.
You might be another sporting event in God knows where, and it's like actually. I know somebody that could feel that.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I have written before about how Auckland FC the in-game entertainment is just next level, and the Blues. The Warriors do it pretty well, to be fair, but the Blues in particular could learn a thing or two. Even the Wellington Phoenix as well. But yeah, so I did have after I did the Ferris wheel story, I had quite a few PR type emails into my inbox at the Herald saying, we've got this activation coming up. Do you want to come down?
There you go.
Yeah, like one with Hello Fresh or something, and they want me to cook, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
But I will tell you one thing, that I understand, I'm not sure if it's 100% confirmed, but I understand there are a couple more activations that Auckland FC have in mind for their last few home games that are
I'm sure
very, 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 very unique, even potentially more so than the Ferris wheel.
Wow, there we go.
Yeah.
There you
go. So stay tuned.
Yeah,
stay tuned. What is the what is the mood around journalists and sports journalists in this country about the Auckland FC story? Because we again on the socials a few weeks ago, people a little bit grumpy that the Auckland FC game was put down on 6th on the menu, below the water skiing. And there's kind of like this feeling, the media are ignoring our wonderful season, our success. Like, how do you see it? Do you feel like it's going to be reported?
Interesting.
It's a regional team, so.
Yeah, I'm quite biased. So obviously I play football. I'm a football fan. I've grown up with it. So I would love for there to be more football coverage. And, myself and my colleague, Michael Burgess, who's the senior football writer at the Herald, he also thinks there should be far more than what there is. But the reality with the current climate in journalism right now, it's, you've got to do the stuff that rates the best. And unfortunately, that is rugby. I think, though, in saying that, we've actually given Auckland FC a lot of coverage, and probably, there's not a lot about the Wellington Phoenix really, and I feel real bad for them, for that. and probably should pick up the slack there. Even the Wellington Phoenix women's team as well. So I think Auckland FC have had major coverage. I think most of that is given their success. Maybe if next season, if they're not that successful, it'll die off a little bit. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's been lacking by any means, and it'll probably just ramp up when they, head into their playoffs.
Absolutely. It's interesting. I think Chris Wood did an interview. It may have been with your mate Paddy Gower again. The last few days, talking about. His dream is for football to take over rugby. I mean, it's all of our secret dreams, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see us ever getting there? Are we ever going to get that kind of real swing towards football? Maybe this next World Cup, if we get there, will put us back up there again in an Auckland FC grand final win.
Yeah, I think we're such tall poppies down here in New Zealand, and with our national teams, our men and women's, they haven't been successful on the international stage. So it's hard for Kiwis, unless they're diehard football fans like ourselves. It's hard for Kiwis to get behind them like they do in rugby. I think Auckland FC have led that way, and the fact they're successful has been huge for us. And I'm confident that's changing. The amount of mates I've got that aren't into football that want to come down to games because they're so exciting, and the way they go about it, I kind of describe it as they're quite street, they're quite cool, hip to follow. So yeah, I am confident football is growing. I feel like that happened after the FIFA Women's World Cup that we hosted. I just don't ever see it probably getting to be on the same level as rugby or even league as well.
It's a different crowd down at Auckland FC. I mean, I go most weeks. It's very female heavy, for a start, which is very unusual at any sort of major sporting fixture, bar the Women's World Cup when they were here. Female heavy, family heavy, whereas a football crowd traditionally is this kind of like man's thing. So it's kind of like, there's obviously a big market of people who want to have a day out on a weekend and get behind something.
You're exactly right. That's what Auckland FC have done so well. They've made it about the family. They say we're competing with the movies or the swimming pool on the weekend. We want the family to come to the game as their family outing, which I think is so cool. And they have made it great for young people to come and watch. I see it now as an opportunity to go with my mates and just watch a game of footy. So they've done really, really well in that respect. And as I mentioned before, I think the Blues could learn off that. The Blues are getting less crowds than Auckland FC at the moment. So
I went to the Blues opening game against the Chiefs, and Eden Park felt empty because it's such a big.
Did they have a Ferris wheel or?
No Ferris wheel, no bouncy castle, no teacups, no beach.
No fun.
The drinks were still expensive. So
lots of concrete.
Lots of concrete. And actually, my other daughter was doing a Ripper rugby thing before, and they had them all down the sides with flags and stuff. But that was about it, Once the game, this whole idea of the game's going on, but there's other stuff still going on is really, really unique.
It is. And I think a lot of people will look at Auckland FC and go, "Oh, they're only doing it because they're really, really well resourced and they've got a bit of financial backing behind them." But I think they've proven as well that they could potentially do it without that. It's the likes of their social media content is brilliant. And
it is
so interactive and it's fun and it's cool and it's hip. And then at the games, the players like Tommy Smith is always like the last one to leave the bloody stadium because he's out on the pitch for so long. They're all signing shirts for hours.
He's enjoying it, Tommy. He's enjoying the season.
I know. I think Tommy Smith is Auckland FC's biggest fan. Seriously, when he comes up with like the selfie at the end, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. Yeah. But no, they do it really well, and I think they should be proud of it. I know they were always expecting that it would be a big investment at the start. They would be at a loss for the first couple of the years financially. So whether they maintain this kind of in-game entertainment to the level they have this season, next season, I'm not sure. But it's really helped the fact that they're winning. I mean, if they're not, if they're not, I'd love to see what happens next year. Hopefully they can back it up, but I'm not sure they'll be able to.
It's been a stellar summer as well in Auckland.
Yes, you're
barely
right.
rained. There was only one game where it rained, and even that was fun. It was kind of like that was a one-off experience, but it's every other game's just like a beautiful day. So what prediction for the season, Bonnie, for Auckland FC from here? We were talking just a bit earlier whether we care about winning the Premier Plate or can we win the grand final? How do you think it's going to go? Because we've just had a sort of run of 3 where it's been our dip, but we've still got 3 points. How do you see it going from here?
Yeah, I think they are in a bit of a slump, and it is concerning. But I keep reminding myself how Steve Corica said at the start of the season or after they started winning a few that we can't win them all. And, no team has really gone all the way through the season. And I wonder if now's the perfect time for them to be, losing dropping a couple of points and getting a bit of a wake-up call, hey, we've got to switch on now. And they, like how they bounced back after that loss against Perth and that loss against Western United last time was epic. So you just hope they're kind of going to do the same. But I did hear your chat before about what's more important, the Premier's Plate or the grand final. And that's such a good question because I don't know. I think I would prefer they win the grand final because that moment out at Mount Smart Stadium would just be incredible.
Imagine winning the Premier Plate and then losing, in the semi or losing in the grand final.
Yeah, it would just be so depressing.
Rid of that feeling.
Yeah. Something I know is in the talks at the moment is if they do make the final and they are that number 1 seed going into it is where they'll have it, the A-League requirement is a minimum 30,000 stadium typically.
So 30?
Yes.
3-0.
Wow. For a semi?
For a final. So if they qualify for the grand final,
have to be Eden Park.
It would have to be Eden Park. However, the question is, Central Coast Mariners, I believe, got an exception last year, so they could probably get out of it. But the question is, would you want to host it at your home ground where you've played some unbelievable football? Would you want to fill out Eden Park? Like, how cool would that be? But how awkward would it be if you didn't have
Mount Smart? It's got to be a Mount Smart.
You reckon?
Yeah, man. We don't want to go Eden Park. Oh no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know where to park because I know where to park my car now when I go to I can't have this change to my routine.
Park around here. Park at my place.
I think as well the players, like, you wouldn't want to change their routine, right?
I know. Well, that's right. It's upsetting me already. My anxiety is already what the rest of them think about it.
But it would be
I
pretty
don't even do
epic.
anything on match day.
It would be pretty epic if the Auckland FC could sell out Eden Park for A-League grand final. Like, how cool would that be? So, but it would just look awkward if they moved it there and they had a hole in the stand. Like,
I think they would. I think they do. We think they would sell out Eden Park?
Yeah,
I think they'd sell out.
I think so.
I mean, you look at those Derby Day. Have you been on Derby Day at all, Bonnie?
Yes,
it's a different crowd in there again. It's like your usual 12,000 plus people who could be out on a day at the races. Like it's kind of like it's a thing. And I think
there'll be a lot of bandwagon fans.
Yeah,
a lot of bandwagon fans. Yeah,
people will go to a grand final.
Yeah,
they will go.
Not just for the. Let's say they've been there. That's right.
Correct.
FOMO, isn't it? Yeah.
FOMO. That's one.
Well, let's hope it's a good decision to make. Go on, Robbie.
No, I was just going to say that Mariners one last year was it was an exception because it was a make good to the club, to the league after that whole decision to take all grand finals to Sydney for 3 years, which went down like a lead balloon amongst the fans. Because Mariners earned the right, and Gosford only holds, I think, 14,000. But the scenes that night were epic. That grand final, like, it's just one of the enduring visions of the league. That the shot at the end of all the fans rushing the field at full time was awesome. Like that's football. Even to the point, like I can still see it in my head. There's a shot of someone with like a lower leg cast, had a knee scooter. He scooted onto the field. He scooted around the hosting desk, which is in the bottom corner of the field. He zigzagged his way onto the field. It was
very good.
bloody amazing.
Yeah,
like that's the kind of thing you can't, you can't script that.
No.
I would love to see something like that happen at Mount Smart, but I think the doll is going to kind of.
That's
well,
what
let's hope we get that far to be having that conversation.
Correct.
But the semis, which we should be in, they can be hosted at Mount Smart, right? That's all good.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Surely.
I think so.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Talking of Eden Park, nice segue. Monday, of course, is potentially a big game for us. But first of all, Friday is a big game for the All Whites. Just a little bit of World Cup kind of reminiscing, I guess. What you might not know, Bonnie, is for the last World Cup or the last qualifier in 2009. Robbie was at the game down in the Cake Tin. Were you there as a fan, or were you working, Robbie?
No, I was working. I was in the broadcast truck.
You work at the broadcast track. I was there for TVNZ at the Sunday program, and we had exclusive access into the changing sheds after they got through, because we'd been like docoing them all week. And I was actually the guy stood there stopping the other media coming in for a little while, just to make sure we got our shots.
Love it.
The dark arts of TV producing. And even my own network, which just didn't go down very well, but we got some great shots. But that moment was like the Everest, really, for New Zealand football in the modern day. We had obviously everyone knows we had to go through, every 4 years we have this playoff, usually against someone decent in South America. That year was different. Fast forward to this kind of bunch of games, like, it feels incredibly underwhelming in comparison with 2009. Is there any chance that Fiji will beat New Zealand on Friday night in Wellington? Bonnie first.
No, I don't think there's any chance.
No chance.
You're talking about the Bahrain game, right? Back
in the Bahrain game in 2009.
Yes,
09.
yeah. I was
Rory
actually
Fallon,
there. I would have been 10 years old, and I was because I'm from Wellington, so I remember being down there, and when everyone jumped up, I couldn't see in front of me. But that was such a game, and we were comparing that in the office just today, saying it's really hard to cover this game on Monday. If they make the final, I'm sure they will. Yeah. Because it's a massive deal if they qualify for the World Cup. That's huge, But at the same time, they're basically going to walk into the World Cup with this new format.
It's totally different. Yeah,
it should be an easy game. Like, how much hype do we give it? We're discussing it. It's quite a challenging one to cover. But I mean, I think if they were playing these games over in Fiji or in another one of the Oceanian nations, we would be having a different conversation and could be potentially worried, just given the resources.
Why are they here? Because we won the group. New Zealand won the group.
Yeah, maybe like it was our turn to host the tournament. I'm actually not sure, but I think it's great for us.
Might be venue as well. Play into it. I think just quality of venue.
Yeah.
Perhaps I don't know.
Yeah.
So Fiji Friday. I mean, we're not going to lose to Fiji. And then Monday, New Caledonia or Tahiti. It sounds like it's like England playing Tenerife or something. It's like the holiday islands,
I was going to say it sounds Ferris. It's like they're trying to book their next holiday. Where do you fancy going?
Fiji, Tahiti, New Caledonia.
Fiji's quite nice. Tahiti, maybe. I don't know. Have you been there? Yeah.
Fiji have got one professional footballer, and I don't think he's making the team. Is that right?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, yeah, Roy Krishna's out injured, and their sole pro, I think I heard, was in the 7th tier of English football.
7th?
Wow. Sounds like Margate.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think even I've played higher than 7th. When I played for my county, I think they were they're in the 5th league at the moment. So yeah, I think maybe I was.
There you go.
Maybe I did. Yeah.
So who's going to play in this All Whites team this weekend? Are we going to see some local lads, Auckland FC lads? Pinnaker might play. Paulson?
I was just discussing this with I host podcast Football Fever with Jason Pine, who's commentating the game tomorrow, and
legend.
Legend. I think we're confident Darren Baisley will stick with Crocombe in goal, so we're kind of hoping Alex Paulson would be in there. The other one we hoped for was Francis de Vries would get the start, and maybe they would push Libby Kakache on as a more attacking left winger. But Piney and I also agreed that Darren Baisley's going to take no chances and he's going to play his strongest lineup. Yeah. But then I don't think playing Alex Paulson or Francis is taking chances. I think they'll absolutely still do a job. But it's a tricky one. I think the only Auckland FC boy to start will be Nando Heineke.
Nando.
Agree.
Yeah. Jesse Randall probably on the bench. Jesse?
Yeah, I wonder if he'll even get on.
He might even get on the bench.
It's just so competitive now, that all-white squad.
Yeah.
You know, it's so hard to pick a starting 11, let alone who you bring off the bench. So, it's great. It's great he's in there.
Yeah, I think the tactics will be quite straightforward. I think you could almost write them on the back of a cigarette packet. I think it will basically say, get the ball to Chris Wood.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Well, it's going to be a little bit more poignant than that, but yeah,
that's it.
You're right.
Get the ball, pass it to Chris Wood. Any questions?
That's what
he's not a dribbler though, is he? I mean, it's got to be in the box when you get it to him.
Yeah, that's what I was excited for with Francis, to be whipping those balls in. You know, that's what everyone's
Francis
talking about. Imagine Francis whipping those balls in. He's been doing every week for Auckland FC, and Chris Wood just on the end of them. Like it would be unbelievable. and then there's Libby Kakache doing a nice little cut in like he does best. So
but I don't think we're that one dimensional. We need to solely play it to Chris Wood. And I think there's more attacking threats with this squad than possibly ever we've seen at the national level. You think the likes of, and I don't know if they'll even be starting, but like a Ben Wayne, Eli Just, Libby Kakache, there's so many outlets available. We're not a one-dimensional team anymore. And all Woodsy has to do is just finish off. Like it's not necessarily about getting it to him, but it's just giving him quality delivery so he can do what he does.
I think the other thing for him will be as well, his leadership is going to be huge. You know, they are the dead favourites in this game, no question about it. So how are they going to not get ahead of themselves and stay grounded? And if Fiji do park the bus, like that probably is absolutely their plan. You know, how are they not going to get frustrated? And
there'll be a lot of position in front of the defence. Like you say, they'll probably line up 2 banks of 4, 2 banks of 5.
It'll practically be a U. It'll just go from side to side like that. One of those. Just go there to there to there. Yeah. See, this is
it won't be pretty football.
See, this is the problem. You see, I mean, I said the Chris Wood thing because I must admit I couldn't, before even this Auckland FC, I would struggle to name 5 players for the New Zealand football team. I really would. But the problem is they never play. Well, why would
really?
I don't really need to know, or I'm never really going to know, because you just never. It's not like the England team. You know, the England football team that are just always playing. You know, it's that Nations Cup.
Oh, you mean the qualifiers? Well,
the qualifiers and the World Cup. You just always seem to see them. There's always that period of time. But with the New Zealand team, and if they are playing, they seem to be playing somewhere that you don't,
rubbish.
Funny time, funny day. Someone.
Here's the question. Here's the question then. So this New Zealand team, let's assume we're going to win these 2 games, and with probably the most talented New Zealand team ever to go to a World Cup. It looks like we could have lots of pros. These guys down at Auckland FC doing really well. But it's kind of like if like Matt says, that if the international team isn't playing these real tight international fixtures all the time, that's where Australia are getting the lead on us, right? Because they're playing in the Asia qualifying series. They're playing these good teams. They're playing Korea or Japan. Or is that going to hinder us going into a World Cup? Robbie, do you want to hear that?
I don't think so. Just because when you look at who's actually in the squad and where they're from, where they're playing at a really good level overseas. So they might not be getting that kind of team cohesion playing together these quality games regularly. but the individuals are still getting regular, decent football week in, week out most of the time. So it's just about getting that form, kind of bottling that, bringing it into the team environment and making that stick, making that gel. But it would certainly help, of course, if New Zealand had quality games more regularly. But it is what it is. Like, we're in the bottom corner of the world. Our best opponent is Australia, and there should be more. There should be more Trans-Tasman games anyway, I think. But
there should.
You got to make do with what you got.
When we qualify for the World Cup on Monday, manifesting it.
Yes, I like it.
You heard it here first.
Though the New Zealand football will have to schedule games every international window. They can't not, and they did that. They did that with the football ferns. In their lead up to the World Cup, they had games every window. My thing is I think they
friendlies though. They're friendlies.
Yeah, they're friendlies, and my thing is they pick these friendlies. I don't know how much of a say they have. It might be just teams available, but they're always picking teams like in the top 20 and 30 in the world, and I don't know how good that is for us in terms of just going and playing these top teams and having to park the bus. You know, it's well, not necessarily park the bus, but play so defensively. I would like us to play teams, you know, more ranked 50 in the world, which is a bit of an easier competition.
Get used to winning, get used to scoring goals. Yeah,
and build up, you know, the fans back here in New Zealand. That's why it's like that's why you can't name Matt probably most of the team, because we don't hear of them, we don't see them, and we want to be
unless you look for them, you don't know.
Exactly.
It's a long way.
Well, I mean, outside of that, after these qualifiers, there is a game against Norway, which is decent opposition. So we get to see Chris Wood up against Erling Haaland. That would be amazing.
There's another one I think they announced today against Ukraine, possibly coming up. In the
yes. There's a Canada tournament or something like that.
Bring your hard hat, is it?
In Canada.
I mean, my thing that's always frustrated me, and I'll bore anybody that can be bothered to listen to me about it, but the one thing that always has frustrated me is that Australia has never had a chance to host a football World Cup, because they would do such a good job. A football World Cup in Australia would be...
What about the women's one 2 years ago?
True, but
jointly hosted, didn't we?
Jointly hosted, but I just think, I mean, to be honest, that's the caveat for taking it a step further and doing the men's one.
He's digging himself out.
All right. He is.
But I just think they would just do, like, Australia is such a sporting, just, you know, it's almost Melbourne is practically the mecca of sport. The amount of stuff that goes on, they would do such a good job. The Olympics,
they did go for it. They went for it.
They always go for it.
Got it. Was it the year Russia got it, and they decided
so.
the two World Cups, Russia and the dodgy one.
But in my defence, you look at the ones that if you'd have sat here 20 years ago and said that Saudi Arabia and where was it before? Qatar.
Yeah.
You said those two countries would beat Australia to the punch for a football World Cup. You just wouldn't believe it. So this is
money talks.
But that's my really issue. I think if football in this part of the world is going to get another real big kick up the backside, having Australia host a football,
and we'd want to jointly host it, though, wouldn't we?
If New Zealand can get a piece of it, then that would be great.
The only thing would be, though, is that the Socceroos can't sell out a stadium like the Matildas can, so they're probably just nervous about that.
Socceroos have their own problems. They've got a World Cup qualifier tonight against Indonesia, kicking off in about 7 minutes.
Is there any chance they won't qualify for the World Cup, Australia? Then are they precarious?
Well, it's
only two teams come out of it.
As working for the host broadcaster, that would not be good.
That's right. You want to go to the World Cup,
eh? We got New Zealand, I suppose.
I'd foot in both camps. There is a chance, so they've got Indonesia and China in this window, and then they finish the qualifying campaign this stage against Japan and Saudi Arabia, which are the two harder teams in the group. But the group that Australia is in really, really tight. So tonight and the China game are kind of must-wins to make it just about safe to go through to the World Cup. If they win these two games, they should they should qualify.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
here we go.
Indeed.
Nice. The Tahiti team were at the AFC game on Sunday. Darren Young says on YouTube.
Oh,
There you go. They're already in Auckland, ready for it.
Yeah, getting ready for it. Yeah, they obviously.
They got play? Do they play each other? Tahiti, New Caledonia. Do they play each other in Auckland? Presumably, yeah. The whole thing's in Auckland, right? Or New Zealand.
Yeah.
Wellington's.
They're playing in Wellington tomorrow. Is the curtain raiser.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool. All right. Well. Let's fingers crossed all Whites do the job. I'm sure they will. Good to see De Vries. I'd like to see him on crossing. You know, he's magic, and he wears a magic hat. You know, and he crosses with his left foot.
He does,
and with his right. And when we win the A-League, we'll be singing the song all night.
Yeah,
that's
there you go.
I'll give you that.
You can take that to the bank.
I might have ad-libbed a little bit. It's my favourite song. There's an F word inside. I tone it down. Families, you know. Good stuff. All right, Bonnie, thanks so much for coming on. Really enjoyed you on. We'll get you on again if you're free at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me. Love your work, guys.
Prediction for Brisbane?
Prediction? Oh, long way out, but
it's a long way out.
We'll have another one before Brisbane.
Yeah,
could we do a people by then?
2-0.
2-0.
There you go.
All right, we'll lock Bonnie in for 2-0 for Brisbane. That's in a couple of weeks' time. We're probably going to have another pod before then. So, Robbie, thanks for battling your way through the traffic, mate.
Yeah, making it. Yeah,
making it. You did it.
That's all right. I don't think
Matthew.
There's bigger issues that we had. That's all good.
Yeah. Well, I cancelled the whole podcast, so and then had to redo it. So I'll reflect on that later.
It's a bold move. Let's see if it pays off.
Good stuff. All right. Well, that was a nice job report. Yeah, nice job report. We are out. Thank you very much for listening, watching. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and football lovers, enjoy the All Whites games over the weekend. We'll give it a up the port.
Up the port. Go the All Whites.
Go the All Whites.
Yeah.